What's up, everybody? Have another review here today. I have here the Vans Crosspath Mid MTE. This comes in a color of green/black. It retails for $140. Let's get into it. The MTE series, the MTE stands for Made for the Elements. There's a series of shoes in that line. The Crosspath Mid, there's also a low top version. Vans officially launched the Crosspath family in fall 2024 with the MTE Crosspath Mid dropping in October. When you compare it to the low top version, this is the Mid, which comes a little bit higher on your ankle to give you more support. It has the classic Vans stripe here on the side to give it that Vans look, but also give you an all-terrain shoe look. And then there is a pull tab in the back, which has the MTE logo on it. And it also has the classic Vans Off the Wall logo here on the top side of the sole. The laces that come with it, I removed them because I prefer a more elastic lace that's easier to lace up because it's hard to, the shoe is relatively hard to get in and out of. The sole is made of an EVA Ultra Cush, and it is meant to be quite soft and comfortable when you're stepping on it. The bottom of the sole has, as you can see, has a all-terrain traction. It's meant to be, the way they kind of describe it is it's supposed to be a shoe that you can use both on pavement as well as like off the pavement, so off trail as well. So just to give you a comparison, I have this is the Mid, and then I have the lows here, and you can see that the Mid does give you that extra height there to help you with ankle support. I did find that the low top actually feels quite a bit more comfortable than the mid tops though, and I think that may just be because the extra height on the shoe itself. This part right here, the rigidity of it kind of makes it more stiff, and it makes it more tight on my foot and ankle, and that just might, add to the discomfort that I feel when I wear these shoes. So that's kind of why I really do like the lows a little bit better. I also noticed, again, with the sizing of these shoes, it's kind of strange, but just in general, they run a lot smaller than they should. Because what's interesting is that on the lows, I purchased a 9.5, and these are a 9s. They both fit, but they both kind of have that kind of still, even though these are 9.5, they still feel a little bit tight. I'm not sure if it's the narrowness of the shoe, but I think that has a lot to, that attributes a lot to the fact that it feels tight when you wear these shoes. But these are kind of a side-by-side comparison of the two. If you're looking to do more, off-trail adventures like hiking in the woods and that sort of thing, the Mids might suit you a bit better just because it has that mid higher support that would support your ankles a bit more than the lows. So I would probably go with these. But if you're just gonna walk around like in the city and just do some more casual walking, the lows will do perfectly fine. So another thing to keep in mind is that whether you get the low or the mid of this shoe, there's going to be a break-in time period. So straight out of the box, you're not going to feel very comfortable, and a lot of that's because they're pretty narrow, and then the upper portion of these are very stiff. You won't be able to wear thick socks in these unless you have a much larger shoe. Much larger size than what you normally wear. So the first thing you're going to notice with this particular style is they make these pretty narrow. They're narrow on my feet. I can feel them kind of scrunching my feet in. And I did have to size up on these. So they do come smaller than true to size. So I normally wear either an 8 or an 8.5, depending on how my feet are, depending on the brand of the shoe. But with this particular shoe, I had to go up even further, up to a 9. So just keep that in mind that if you purchase these, you're gonna have to size up either 1 or 2 sizes just to get the right fit for these. I feel like these shoes are comfortable to an extent. The fact that they're so narrow and the material that's on the upper part of it, it's not a very soft material. It's sort of stiff. So they feel like the shoe feels somewhat stiff when you're wearing these. Now I haven't worn these extensively, so maybe over time they'll be broken in and they'll be more loose and comfortable. But when you first put these shoes on, the first thing you're gonna notice is that they're pretty tight and they're also very stiff, especially in the upper portion of the shoe. The arch support on these are not too bad actually. There is a slight arch support. I'm flat-footed and I feel them. They don't feel completely flat. Yeah, but if you're somebody that needs like a pretty high arch, you're gonna have to switch out purchase an insert with the proper arch support. The insoles of this shoe are not removable. If you're gonna put your own insole in there, you're gonna have to keep in mind that you'll need to size up even bigger, because you have to leave the existing insole in there, and when you put another insole there, it's just gonna make it that much more tight. You could potentially rip the old one out if you wanted to. I don't know what kind of issues that could produce, or if it's gonna create a bunch of bumps instead because you're tearing it off. If you can tear it off completely or cleanly. So that's all I have so far from my impressions of comfort and fit. Now let's move on to the pros and cons. So for my pros on this shoe, the thing I really like about this shoe is I really like its look. It does really give you that kind of hiking shoe look, but at the same time, it still has that sneaker look to it too. So it's kind of a blend between the two. Most hiking shoes they don't look very aesthetically pleasing, and these do. So that's one of the biggest things I really like about this shoe, is that it looks good, and it also goes well with any type of clothing you're wearing, whether it's slacks or jeans or shorts. You can also wear these with shorts and you'll look pretty good. I do like the colorway, the green with the black. Just the way they made the colors look makes it look pretty cool, and that's the same thing for just about any. There's a large number of different colorways you can get this shoe in, and if one doesn't fit doesn't please what you like, then you'll definitely be able to find a colorway that you're gonna like. And I like the fact that they've got so many different variations of colors of this shoe. The other thing I do like about this shoe is that the entire upper is DWR coated, so it's water resistant. So it does have that characteristic, which is really nice to have, especially when you're walking around and it is raining, or you're walking around in terrain that has a lot of water. Moving on to the cons, I'm not too particular with the way the shoe fits. It's a bit too narrow for my feet, and I think maybe that's just because I'm flat-footed and I have wide feet. For some people that have more narrow feet, these might suit them well. But for me, I feel like they're too narrow, and they're just kind of uncomfortable when you're wearing them. And then also the upper, even though they are DWR coated and they have that water resistance to them, I don't know whether or not that plays into the factor of it being kind of stiff. The upper material is not very comfortable. It's not very soft. So when I'm wearing these shoes, it feels everything just kind of feels, it's almost like you feel like you're putting your foot in a box, like a stiff box. So it just doesn't have that overall comfort that I would get from, let's say, some of the Skechers that I have, or also even when I compare these to the Vans Ultra Range VR3. Those are almost the same, but they aren't on that MTE line. So those are a lot softer and a lot more comfortable than these. And I initially thought that these would be as comfortable as those, but they are not. The other con is that you can't pull the insole out. So if you want to put your own insole in there, that's going to be it's going to ultimately result in the shoe being smaller than it is. And that was the other thing I forgot to mention, is that the shoe sizes for these run extremely small. So you're gonna have to size up either a half a size larger or a full size larger than your normal shoe size. Also, if you're walking around on flat pavement that's wet, these have a tendency, although the traction looks like it's really good, they have a tendency to slip Olena has a pair of these and she's used them at work, and the floor, she found that they became very slippery when the floor was wet. All right, let me talk about my final thoughts on this shoe. So the two pros that I have are that it looks really cool. I like the way they look. They're also water repellent, but there's just, moving on to the cons, there's far more cons than there are pros. First thing is they're super narrow. The upper is like super stiff, requiring you to break these shoes in. They just don't feel very comfortable. They're not true to size. They run really small. They aren't true all-terrain shoes because depending on what surface you're on, especially if you're on just straight flat pavement and it gets wet, these do tend to be kind of slippery on those kind of surfaces. I'm gonna have to give this shoe a 6 out of 10. If you've got any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below and consider subscribing to our channel.